Tutorial, we are going to learn how to graph quadratic inequality. We did learn how to graph quadratic function. Now we're going to learn how to graph quadratic inequality. What's the difference? Quadratic inequality doesn't have equal sign. It has either greater or equal, greater, less or equal, or just less. So graphing quadratic inequality. It all depends on graphing quadratic function. If we know how to graph the quadratic function, that's going to be a piece of cake. So we are going to just do one example and then you can apply it to any other problem. So example 1. Example 1 states graph y greater, there is no or equal here, so when we graph it's going to be dashed, graph 2x squared, let's make it negative 2x squared plus 5. So if it's negative 2x squared, what that tells you about the parabola? Yes, you're right, it's going to open down. So solution, like for a second we are gonna assume or imagine that it's y equals negative 2x squared plus 5. We graph this, then we just shade either inside the parabola or outside the parabola, depends on the original problem. And when we graph it, we have to take in consideration, does it have or equal sign? So when we graph it, it's solid, or it doesn't have the equal sign, so it's going to be dashed. In our case here, there is no equal sign. As we mentioned before, it's going to be dashed. So now we need to find the vertex for this quadratic function. Oh, that's a standard form. If it's standard form and I want to find the vertex, so the vertex is going to be equal to negative b over 2a, comma, whatever that number is, we plug it in here to find the y. So I can write that as f of negative b over 2a. And this is the order pair. So what that notation means, it means whatever that number is, we are going to plug it in the function over here instead of the x. So now we need to find what the value of negative b over 2a. So we go back here and we find what is a, what is b. We don't need c, but I'm just going to show you how to get c in case if you are using the whole formula to solve the equation. A is the coefficient of x squared, the number in front of the x squared. In our case, it's negative 2. B is the coefficient of x, the number in front of the x. We have no x, 0x, so b is 0. C is the constant, which is 5. So the vertex equals order pair, negative b, negative 0. 0 doesn't have negative or positive, so we just write 0. Divided by 2 times a. 2 times negative 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And 0 divided by any number is 0. So now we have 0 for the x. For the y, we need to take that 0 over negative 4, which is 0, and we plug it in the original function, this one, instead of the x. So 0 and f of 0. So it's 0, comma. If I plug in 0 in here, this is going to be 0. Because 0 times 0 is 0. Times negative 2 is 0. Plus 5, it's 5. So the vertex is 0, comma 5. Now to graph it, we did find the vertex already, equals, it was 0, comma 5. Now we need to, so x, y, we start over here with the vertex 0, 5. Then we pick 2 more points after 0. We can use 1 and 2. Now we find the answers. Remember, our equation was originally y equals 2, negative 2, x squared plus 5. When x is 1, what's the value of y? So we need to plug in the x over here to find this y. So I'm going to plug in 1 instead of the x. So 1 squared means 1 times 1, which is 1. Then I multiply it by negative 2. That's going to be negative 2 at the end. Plus 5. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Now we use 2 for the x to find the corresponding y. So negative 2 times x squared, x is 2. So when I square that, 2 is going to be 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 5, that's negative 3. Now remember, negative 2 over here is negative. The value of a is negative. This means that when I graph it, it's going to be upside down parabola or open down parabola. Now we prepare the graph paper. This is positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. Now we plot these points from the table. We plot them. So the first point is the vertex 0 and 5. So 0 on the x, and then we go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 3. When x is 1, we go up 3. 1, 2, 3. When x is 2, actually y is negative 3, so we are going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So now we have half of the parabola. But before I graph it, I need to go back to the original problem. The original problem was y greater than negative 2x squared plus 5. There was no equal in here. And when there is no equal, that's going to be dashed. Make sure about that. If you do it solid, you're going to lose points. So now I need to graph this half of the parabola using dashed or dotted. Then arrow. Now to find the other half, the vertex right now is on the y-axis. So the y-axis is your axis of symmetry. So this point I reflected on the axis of symmetry. It's 1 away. It's going to be over here. This point is going to 1, 2. It's going to be 1, 2 on the other side. Now we do the other half of the parabola. And remember, it's also dashed. Dashed means the points on this parabola are not solutions of the inequality. So the solutions are going to be either the point inside the parabola, under that curve, or the points outside, which are above the curve. Now the original problem says y is greater than. Y is greater. To make y greater, you need to go above the parabola. So this means we're going to shade above that dashed parabola. So I'm going to use another color, and we are going to shade above. This is above, and everything outside. Also, you can check if what you're doing is right or wrong by test a point. Since 0 and 0 is not on the parabola itself, then you can test this point. You plug this point on the original inequality. 0 for the y, 0 for the x. So 0 greater than, this is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 greater than 5. No. So 0 and 0 is not a solution. So we don't shade where the 0 and 0 is located. We shade outside, and that's what we already did. Just I'm double checking. And that's it. That's how you can graph quadratic inequality.